Thank you for being here today, Roxanne.
Thank you. My pleasure. I'm honored to be here. LTD has always been a great addition to the town of Marana.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to be here.
We appreciate that. Yeah, we always get really excited when we have somebody from the town coming by, whether it be council members, the mayor, or Terry, or anybody that's involved. It's pretty cool. So I know it takes time out of your day. I know you're busy with your campaigning that's going on. It's that season, huh?
Yeah, you would think I'd have this down pat after the several years I've been on the council, but it's every 4 years, and so when it comes up, I'm like, okay, what do I do? And this year, being a little older and being a little, harder to get things done. Sometimes it's the environment.
Yeah.
People are kind of scared to be signing your petitions and going to homes, knocking on doors. It's been a little struggle this year, but that's fine. At the end of the day, if I'm honored to get back onto the council, it's worth it.
So the people asking questions these days, I feel, just from what I've seen, is even though the town of Marana is a nonpartisan election and spot, right? Yeah. People still like to really inquire about the party affiliation.
Yes. Years ago, no one ever asked.
Right,
it's nonpartisan. This year and 4 years ago, there would be. Sometimes this year they were asking, "What's your position on this?" Or and I found out. So I started talking about things, but then I found out what they were really trying to ask me: "Are you an R or a D?"
Yeah.
So after a few questions like that, I said, "I'm a Republican."
Yeah.
So they're very interested in where your loyalties lie.
Yeah. So you've been a part of the Marana Town Council for quite some time. So tell us about how long you've been on there.
I've been on the council for 18 years. I started my first service for the town was 1995. 1995 I was on the Planning and Zoning Commission, which really is so important. I wish that they would, people would have to serve on planning and zoning for a year or two. Of course, we're not going to do an ordinance to do that, but you learn so much from planning and zoning if you're thinking about going to being a council member. But so I was on P&Z for 2 years, and then in '97, opportunity came up on the council. So I went ahead and ran and was successful, and did one term. And in 2001, the term was up. In 2000, I ended up with IBM, working for IBM. And I was working at home as a job at home, but I didn't stay home very long. So within months, I was flying everywhere. And I just could not give 100% to the town of Marana. So I did not run again in 2001. I was out until 2007.
Okay.
If people remember, that was when the recession came. So a lot of us who worked for IBM didn't travel as much. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to jump back in. I had such a great time before and learned so much. I wanted to continue to serve.
Right. So planning and zoning, you say that's a pretty good stepping stone to learn for.
It truly is.
Yeah.
When I was on it in the mid-'90s, wow, it's like wild, wild west out here. Developers, all you had, I moved here in '89 and bought my house, built my house in Continental Ranch. And the only thing here was McDonald's on the corner, Cotero and I-10, and Little Abner's.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then the 4 models. My house is a Vision Home, so those of you that live near me, Vision Home, what's that? The 4 models, that was it. And so my neighbor, a little story, there was 12 of us, and the neighbor down the street, you might have heard this name, Wheeler T. Abbott Sr.
Oh, yes.
The library is named after Wheeler. He one day saw me out in the yard and said, "You need to start giving to your community." And I'm like, okay. And he said, "I'm the chairman of the P&Z, and I think you'd be a good candidate. So we're looking for somebody, and could you come and in front of the council, and so I did.
Yeah.
And presented and got my seat on the P&Z. But the thing there, is, David, is it was a open campus. Think about it.
Yeah. There was nothing.
Nothing. And Arizona Pavilions, which used to be called Southwest Partners, they came in and bought the land and started building homes. But so it was a blank canvas. And so all these people had to come to P&Z. Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh, what a wild. We were learning as we went, you know, and we used to have meetings 4 and 5 hours and, you know, developers wanting to build and kind of like today still. Mm-hmm. But back then everything was open for discussion.
Yeah.
So it was actually a fun time. The town hall, of course, wasn't there. We met in the where the chamber is now.
Okay.
Small. People would be packed in there. So, and then Wheeler, I want to stay with him for just a second because he really motivated me to get involved. Mm-hmm. And once he got me involved, I really, really like this. He says you need to serve your town, your community, and then several years later, Pima County decided to build a library in Marana. Mm-hmm. And Sharon Bronson at the time, supervisor, went to Wheeler and said, here's what we'd like to do. We'd like to build this. Would you like to donate? And he did. He donated $1 million.
Wow.
And so they said, well, we're going to name the library after you. And he had children, grandchildren, mm-hmm. And that's why he did it. And he could.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoy going in there into the library and wow, there's Wheeler. He's got a nice picture on his wall. I've got one at home too, little one, because they were great neighbors and such advocates for the town of Marana when it was so immature. I don't know about that's not a good word. When it was so small, mm-hmm. they really left their footprint on the town of Marana.
That's a really cool story. I frequent that library pretty often with my kids. Yeah, we love it. My daughter loves going into the kids area where they have the play platforms and you can draw and all kinds of other things. It's not just stuck to just books. It's really cool. And the design is beautiful too.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah,
I remember when they took us in there for a tour.
Yeah.
I just go in there to look at, we're by the windows. Mm-hmm. I just go in and go, God, this is a beautiful view. We're trying to just segue into that. I've been trying for the last year to get the hours changed or longer hours.
Yes.
I had some people from Saguaro Bloom and I think in Gladden Farm, some mothers and fathers saying, it's not even open on Saturday and Sunday. To me, it's just, you got to be kidding. I mean, I know it's not because I go there. I just remember when I was a kid, that's kind of where we, of course, how many years ago was that? That's where we hung out, is in the library. Didn't get much done, but, and so I sent a letter about a year ago up to Sharon Bronson and to the gal who runs the director of the library. Mm-hmm. So said, wow, we've got a lot of parents that in school, especially elementary, they say, take your kids to the library, let them learn things there. Well, Monday through Friday, mom and dad, a lot of them are working. And
it closed at like 5 or something.
Lord, the hours are just ridiculous. They close at 5. And they're not open on the weekend, so how can you take your child to the library?
Yeah, it's hard.
So they did change but not much, but hey, baby steps.
6 p.m.'s better. I mean,
baby steps,
that's helped us, yeah.
They did change some of the days till, 6?
6 p.m.,
I think Wednesday it might be till 7, not sure, but still no Saturdays and Sundays either.
Yeah, that's still no on the Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah, so they did change it a little bit. Thank you, Pima County, for that. I'll still keep pushing because I see there's other libraries that actually do stay open on at least Saturday. So
yeah, well, we appreciate that. Yeah, so just to confirm, so it's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Thursdays, it's 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
7,
which is cool.
Yeah.
Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then, of course, the weekends are closed. Monday, it's open until 6 p.m. And Tuesday is also a 7 p.m. day.
Is it?
Yeah,
okay,
10 a.m. to 7 p.m. So, it used to just be 5 all.
Till 5, yeah.
So that's cool.
So, I just like going there and sitting and looking
Look out
at
the
some
window, yeah.
magazine. Yeah, there's magazines I don't get. So
I have a lot of these questions. I was drop my tablet. Thanks for saving that. A lot of questions I have usually are for like new people coming in. You know what I mean? And getting into that, you have a lot of experience. I mean, people, if you go and look at your website, I went and looked at it, and you've been doing this for a while. So going, hey, what are you going to bring to the town? Well, a lot of people know already, and some people are going to go like that. They're going to say this, and I've already heard some people say this. Well, we need some new blood. Right?
yes,
Maybe that
yes.
experience is too long, but we need some new blood. So how do you respond to that?
New blood. Yes, my blood and a couple of my colleagues are getting a little older, and our blood is thinning. But the way I respond to that is, if you've been here for a while, are you happy with what you see? Are you happy with your roads? Are you happy with your parks? Are you happy with the police? We did that. Again, like I said, when I moved here, it was 89. 2 things down in Continental Reserve and hardly anything up in North Marana. And it's taken a long time. Things like growing and expanding is a slow process. But in the 18 years I look back, I'm happy and proud to say, wow, I had a hand in that. Mm-hmm. I had a hand in that. We, on our board, there's 3 or 4 of us. It's kind of nice because I can look at the mayor, I can look at Patty, I can look at Herb and go, do you guys remember back when? Who was that person and this and that? And it's nice to have that tribal knowledge and things that we did. Mm-hmm. And we have those conversations that we can't have with anybody else.
Right.
And yes, we are very much aware that, and we are a big proponent of younger people. Mm-hmm. And as a segue into that, this election, we have Melissa Zuppi running. Melissa she just had her birthday, 41, I think. Happy birthday, Melissa. Mom lives in Gladden Farms, I believe. She was born in Marana. I didn't really know her through all these years. I've known John, of course. And Melissa decided to run. And so I got to meet her, and what a ball of fire. What a ton of energy. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at me going, wow, okay, I thought I was still kind of getting it, but when I, spent some time with her over Founders Day and other things, a ball of energy, and a lot of new ideas. And that's what people want. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a proponent of new blood. Mm-hmm. We can always learn from younger people, absolutely. But then on the other hand, I think it's a good thing to keep some of us around for a while. Yeah. Even in business, we get new people in, and then you have to train them, and you have to do this and help them along. But then if I had a business, I think I'd probably look for an experienced person first. Mm-hmm. To not everybody being the same age, but somebody that has that knowledge, and that's what I have. As we see here, is I just remember things as you ask questions. I got a lot of stories that I'd like to tell that people may not know of, and so I'm hoping that with Melissa, if she is successful on the council, 2026 is coming up. If anybody is thinking about running in a couple of years, especially to the younger people out there, do it. But I would be honored and grateful if I stayed on for at least another 4 years. Yeah. Because we still got a little bit of work to do. But I think for me, it's I just enjoy sharing. Yeah. Sharing everything that I know.
Yeah. Well, it's important to mentor in any.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Career-filled business, everything. You got to have mentorship.
Yeah, there's not a school of council members. No. Again, P&Z is a good start, but it's and communication is a lot to do with what you're, communication with people is things that you need to do. Mm-hmm. especially with common sense, there's a lot of things that we do that just don't make sense and to people. But yeah, we're very open to that.
Yeah.
I know some folks continue to think we're not. Another thing I wanted to I put on my put on Nextdoor. I do a lot of Nextdoor for those who see me. We don't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
A couple of people said, well, you guys stay in so long because you make all this money. Folks, I'm making $19,900, and that's $19,009 a year.
Yeah.
My colleagues make the same. I think the mayor is really hauling in the money. He's making $2,200.
Wow. So how do you?
I mean, 22,000. I'm sorry. I'm talking annually. 19,000. A year. And mayor, like I said, he's flush with cash with the 22,000.
How do you bring in new blood with that, though? I'm sorry. I just gotta ask that. I mean, so we talk about the new blood. With that kind of money in the picture,
You do. This is public service.
Yeah.
This is community service.
Right.
This is being a servant to your residents. It has nothing to do with the money. What I mean is, if you're trying to, if you need more money, okay, let's start with retired. I'm retired, so I have some income coming in.
Right.
This, to me, the 20 grand, I'll take that. That's that's good. But this is not a place where you are going to make money. You don't get people. When I said how much we make, they said, "Yeah, but you get all that, all those perks and all that graft." Okay, let me think about that. I get coffee cups once in a while.
Yeah.
I get pens.
You get a challenge coin every once in a while too.
Get a challenge coin, and I got a hat. So it's all to do with public service, giving back. Like Wheeler said to me years ago, you need to give back to your community. And I'm proud to say that the folks on the council right now, every one of them, and it's very unusual to have that, but every one of us want to give back. Where most of us are retired, we've done our 30 years or whatever for work, and we love this community. All of us have been in the community, I'm thinking, a pretty long time. Of course, the Posts have been here forever. The Kais, John Officer, Patty, and I have been here 30 years. So we are giving back. So you are a public servant. And so if you're looking for a full-time job, this is not it. But if you want something very rewarding, at the end of the day, when you've done a lot of things and you look back, that I do, it's a wonderful place to be.
It's great that you covered that it's public service.
It's public
right? You
service.
have to get into, if you're joining anything in regards to the public service sector, remember what it is, and it's public service. You're giving back to the public every day, even if you do have a title and a job and you're getting paid. Like if you work for the public works in the town or something else, right? Like I used to work for the town. Like it's not just, I'll do it sometimes. Like you have to give back. It's public service. You actually work for
the residents.
Right? And it's unfortunate people kind of get that confused.
The hierarchy.
And some people,
the hierarchy, when I put up an org chart, and sometimes we need to be reminded, is the residents. We're at the top of the chart.
Yeah.
Residents, town council, and then comes town manager, Terry, and then all of his folks. And staying with that, it wasn't hard for me to do the public service because, and I'll bring up a little bit of my background. I come from an Air Force family. So I've got 5 generations of Air Force. Dad, my dad, my father-in-law, my husband at the time, my son, and now my grandson serves in the Air Force. He's in Travis Air Force Base in California. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Donovan. So my dad taught us at a pretty young age. We lived on Air Force bases for 22 years, I guess, is where I lived for 22 years. And, it's God, country, and family. And it's, you give back. You just need to give back.
Yeah.
So we kind of got that mentoring with the parents all through our life, and it just carried on with me.
Yeah.
And when I went to school, my major was in government relations and politics. Well, I never thought I'd use the politics part of that. It was government relations because I did government contracts for 15 years before joining IBM. And so that's why I did the government relations part. And I was a contract manager and negotiator for a lot of government entities. But the politics part, I didn't really think much of. But I enjoyed it. I always enjoyed politics. And then when I got over here and Wheeler caught me out there pulling weeds one day, you need to get back. So, it's and if you do it right, and you will get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
A lot back.
Yeah. Well, the town's thriving.
Town's thriving.
Just like an energy here.
Yes, and I know some people, when I moved in, I thought the same thing as, this is really nice. This could be a very nice small community, like a hometown community. But one thing I did know, because I did my homework, was this is a growth community. Mm-hmm. This community is, like I said, a blank canvas. Mm-hmm. And everybody was coming kind of north. Continental Ranch went in and started that growth. Mm-hmm. And then everything was going north. And we did not plan to, and so to stick with that a minute, a lot of people are not happy because we've grown so fast. And we moved into what we thought would be a bedroom community or a small town feel. It was never going to be that because you need to have money to build the town. Right now you enjoy police, you enjoy the roads, you enjoy the parks, you enjoy things that we can give you, the 4 events we have, the 4th of July, Founders Day, at Christmas. Those are all paid for by tax dollars. Mm-hmm. And if you don't grow, you won't have those tax dollars. You will, sometimes the town would just die. It would just not, if we stopped growth. Some people say, well, you need to stop growing. And I'm here to tell you that Marana won't stop growing. Now, the thing I wish that would have happened is if we would have had the economic growth spread over more time. Mm-hmm. But that's just not what happened. We had houses were coming in, and that was great. Recession hurt us and everybody in 2007, 2008. But then after COVID, oh my heavens, everything just went crazy. Yeah. And out in Marana, homes are still going up, but the businesses that came in, and that's what we were trying to get all along, and at least in my 18 years, bring some businesses into Marana so people don't have to go outside of Marana to work. And we just couldn't attract them. Yeah. And then over a certain period of time. And then after COVID, oh my heavens, people had money. Here comes the Flint development. Here comes Amazon. Here comes CTI, U-Haul, Shamrock's coming, all at once.
What do you think had to do with that?
I just think it was the money. It was money. I mean, it's always the money. Yeah. But I think COVID had a lot to do with it. Mm-hmm. Everybody was in home, and then afterwards, the market went. The market was better. People just in business had some money to spend, and they saw Marana going, "Wow, there's not much going on up there. Let's go look." Mm-hmm. And we just kept getting people coming to town, and more, asking for permits. It was insane there for the last 3 years. Do I wish it was spread over a longer period of time? Yes, because people just think that now we just want nothing but businesses in there because for all this money. That's not what it's about. It's about getting businesses in, keeping the jobs in Marana. Yeah, we'll make some sales tax on that. We'll make some construction sales tax when they build in Marana. But it's for the residents. It's what we need up here to keep Marana relevant and alive. Do I wish it was slower? I do. And I thought it would always be that way. But I think, and I understand people go, man, I look around, there's all of a sudden everything at once. So we're saying that, I still think it's up here in your mind that we're still a small town feel. I think it has to do with the people, the residents. We still treat each other as individuals who we love to serve, and we don't get into the chaos. Sometimes you see down in the city of Tucson or the Board of Supervisors, we just thankfully don't have to go that far.
Yeah.
We don't have to, and I think nonpartisan races, one of the reasons we don't have districts, we don't have wards. I think that helps because we're not competing against each other, the council. We certainly have our own opinions, and those have watched. That's
important, though.
Oh, it is important.
You have to.
Because sometimes, you don't want the group think coming, and it's usually me. I'm usually the naughty one. Everybody knows I'm the naughty one.
The naughty one.
Yeah.
Well, contention's important. We talk about it here all the time.
Contention's important. It seems like I bring up things a little differently than than others. But one thing, David, is at the end of the day or at the end of the meeting, people have watched or heard, we may get upset with each other. If we have study sessions, those get a little, I'm not even going to say contentious. We're just trying to do the best for the community. But we walk out of the town hall or meeting, and it stays over there. It stays at the town hall.
Right.
And we can walk out. Hey, you want to go get a hamburger, Rox? Yeah, let's go. And I've just ripped somebody, which people know sometimes. Shame on me, but we just don't hold that.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Is that out of passion?
I think so.
Yeah.
I love the word passion. Thank you for saying passion, because I've been called other things. I can't say it on the radio here.
You can actually say whatever you want, but it's probably not a good professional move. We're not regulated by the FCC. Did you know that?
Well, you know what? I'm sure people. Yeah, that's true.
Just messing
Well, I
around.
think people know the word I'm thinking of. But I like to be called passion.
Yeah.
I have thank you for bringing that up. I have a lot of passion for this town. I didn't think about that when I moved here.
Yeah.
I just came here, found this area that was further away from towns. At the time, I was working in Oro Valley. So I drove to Oro Valley every day from Continental Ranch. And I said, I want somewhere out. Well, she put me way out. Nothing there. So that was fantastic. But as I grew to know the town and get more familiar with, like, gosh, a P&Z, I can kind of plan this, of course, with other people. So I got pretty passionate about that. But now I look at what we've done, and I think we've done a good job. I am on Nextdoor a lot, only answering those questions that are reasonable. Some people put a lot of stuff on, and I won't touch that.
I can't do Nextdoor.
No, yeah,
That's
nobody
just
wants
a
to do it.
Echo chamber of just.
Yeah, my colleagues say
What?
you shouldn't do that. But no, I think I should, and I do. But I only go after. When I say go after, that's not right. I only correct, or it's not even correct people when there's something that's just not right. They say something like,
It's got to be addressed.
Yes, it has. I don't want to. I just want to say, no, that's not how we do this. This is the way it's done.
Yeah.
No, we don't have property taxes. Some people still think that we have. No, we don't have property taxes in Marana. What's the other thing that they're always saying? That's the only time I try to go in and clarify. And people go, well, I live here. I don't live in the town of Marana. I have a Tucson address. No. If you're in Continental Ranch, or you are in the town of Marana, those are the things that I address. And I do get, when most of the times I get some nice responses. Thank you, Roxanne. Thank you, Roxanne. I have a group page called Marana Rocks. That's another one that I invite people to. And it's just anybody that wants to ask a question. I go on there, and any question that you have, what's going on in Swirl Bloom, San Lucas,
Yeah.
What about these roads? Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done this? I love my group page. It started about a year ago. So, and the other thing is, some people say, well, come to us, come talk to us. No, that's not the way I look at it. Public service, I'll come to you. I'll come to you. I'll come talk to you. I'll come to your house. I'll go do a lunch if you want, or meet you in the park. That's how I feel.
That's really cool. Just I've gotten to a couple council meetings, and educate me, please, if I'm incorrect on this.
Of course.
With the development and stuff coming here, the town council doesn't necessarily have the ability to stop things.
No, and I'm so glad you mentioned that. No, we don't. And I'm so glad you brought it up, David, because I see it on Nextdoor. How come you didn't stop that? Why are you why are you having all these car washes built? Why do you have all these storage buildings built? I want to tell people who are listening, I'm tired of them too. If we get another car wash or another storage area. But we can't stop them. It's their land. First of all, they own that land. And they might have only owned it for 4 months, 4 years, or 20 years. But it's their land. And they have the right to build on it. Marana, and I want to make that clear, we don't have a lot of land in Marana. We have the town hall, the police station, the new, oh my gosh, the rec center and the pool that are going up, the new ones. I think that I think I'm most proud of.
Yeah.
On the one that gets built. It's going like crazy. It's just going to be beautiful. We have that and the land across the street from it. And the maintenance operations center down in Ina. Those belong to the town of Marana. We might have very few other pieces of land, but some people think we have the land and these people are coming in. No, and the other person has the other rest of the land is Arizona State land. Arizona State owns a ton of land in Marana. So that's theirs. But this growth you're seeing, and with all the new buildings, those aren't ours. These are people who have had this land. They own the land, doesn't matter how long. As long as they come to the town, they pull their permits. If the zoning is correct, if they follow our land codes and our ordinances and our rules, they do their landscaping and their lighting and whatever else that they need to abide by to be successful in getting a property on there.
Yeah. There's a lot of steps there that they got to accommodate to make that happen.
There's a ton of steps. And you wouldn't believe some of the things they have to, all the checkpoints through the town. I can see it on the website. There's a website, a projects website. It's a fantastic tool for the council and residents. And you can go in there and just even see letters coming from the fire station, coming from the landscape department, letters from the Northwest Fire, every department, the water department. Yes, this is okay for water. Yes, this is okay for sewer. Transportation, yes, it's fine the way it is. Or no, we need to do a traffic study. Unbelievable things that have to be done until that person gets the check mark to say you can build there.
Right.
So again, I really don't want another car wash or another storage area in the town. But if that's the zoning they have, and even if it isn't, if they want to come in and rezone, that's a whole nother process. But if they can follow Arizona State statutes, Arizona revised statutes, that comes into play also on our recommendations. So that's why we can't stop some of these things that are coming in. I want to mention something. Maybe this is just because I like the grief, I guess, but Amazon. I get so many people over the last 2.5 years about Amazon being in the town of Marana, down on the corner of Silverbell and Ina.
Yeah.
It's there, folks. A lot of people didn't want it there. Most of those people were not in the town of Marana, are not in the town of Marana. Some of them are. But again, think about it. That corridor from Ina, then the freeway over to Silverbell, think of what's there. That is an industrial commercial corridor. You've got gas stations. You've got our Marana Operations Center. You've got the waste management. You've got Tank's green stuff. You've got the marijuana dispensary on one side. On the other side is county. They've got those tire things, whatever you see the tires. They've got their wastewater plant there. And then next to that, I think we have our apartment complex going up. And then we have a gas station. That whole corridor is commercial. And so the corners down there at Ina and Silverbell have all been zoned commercial for many, many, many years. At least the 20-some years I've known.
Yeah.
And so when Amazon came in, they didn't have to come to the town council. They came in, they pulled their permits. And just like I had said earlier, we couldn't stop that. So they built their building, and I know a lot of neighbors, they didn't like the colors, but that's their trademark. We have others in the town, they have trademarks. U-Haul is orange. McDonald's has the arches that are yellow. Do I wish we could have gone with a desert colored? I think folks, yeah, but it's there. And again, if we had tried to stop them, and I don't even know how we would have been sued. People say, oh, no, we will get sued. I mean,
And who has to foot that bill?
That's the Met residents.
Yeah.
So I'm not apologizing for it. I just want people, I think once they understand why we couldn't just say, no, we don't want Amazon there. It's ugly. It's too big. Some sites, view sheds might have been interrupted. That's just, you have to do some homework and say, hey, if I've built here, what's going to be built over there in that empty land? When I built my house, I knew exactly what was around me. Yeah,
that's your responsibility as a homeowner.
Yes, I knew I was in a master plan community.
You don't pay for the views. I'm sorry, like when you go and buy a house,
no,
it's not. Oh, that's a guaranteed thing, unless perhaps you have either a wash behind you, which is not going to get built in, or other houses, right? Like it's something you should be looking into.
Yes, when I built in Continental Ranch, I wanted to build. Not where I built, but I built on a corner, which I like. It's bigger. But I wanted to really build it across the street up against a wash, because when I looked at the plan, there's a wash, which will never be built. Nothing can be built in a wash. And then beyond that is a park.
Right.
So I'm like, wow, I'll never have a view shed problem here. Couldn't afford those. They were at that time, those were about $10,000 more. And it was kind of protect your view, but you have to be careful because people will pay. So they did do it in Continental Ranch a little bit, and then up in Dove Mountain too. I know they charge for views, and I would say, man, unless you're sitting on 3 acres up there and you're high up, don't pay all that money because we can't control what's going to be built outside of Marana.
That's great insight. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, when you're building and you're on an acre, I love being on acre land, and a lot of county folks are, and they look down into Marana, especially where Amazon's built. Those are commercial corners, and you have to ask yourself, one day something's going to be built there. I'm not, and some days, like on those 4 corners I just talked about, those things have been empty for as long as I've been here. And then here recently, we, of course, got the Amazon, we got the gas station. Now on the the northwest corner is a building that's just starting. It's the Child Protective Department of Child Services is building a 1-story building there, and
that's what's going there. Okay.
Yeah, that's what's going up there.
Okay.
And I actually know the gentleman who owns that land, and he's held on to that. I've known him since the early 90s. So he's held on to the land, and a lot of people have until whatever their personal situation is. Then, because I said, "Oh, you're starting to sell some land there, are you?" And so I'm sorry to belabor that, but it really is something that I've put on Nextdoor to say, no, Marana has very little land, and we have to follow, our codes, Arizona revised statutes, every other thing that we regulate.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, one thing going to the council meetings and you hear about what gets said on social media and you see what gets said.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're truly that concerned or you have questions, like it doesn't cost money to go to a council meeting, right? It does. I mean, it costs some time, but it's good to go and you can stream them. Like we were streaming one here the other day and you were talking about the local restaurant and local business scene, right? And how that's something you guys are working on and kind of got to figure out. And we've been, with local Marana stuff, we've been having conversations as well. Like how can we grab information and stuff to help with that? And,
yes.
So like just being able to see that online, like it's not hard to go and watch the meetings and
to get some better
information.
2 points, restaurants. And the other point was the streaming and getting people to a council meeting. I have tried for almost 18 years to get people to a council meeting, just one a month.
Yeah.
We only have, it's the first and third Tuesdays of the month. If you could just make one, or maybe every other month, because then a lot of the stuff, you can come up and talk to us. We're very, we love to talk to people. I see new people that come in the door. I go up, thanks for coming. I don't know what to do if anybody's listening and they have an idea to get more people to a council meeting. And it's just tough. But if you're watching, if you're streaming it, that's fine too. Because you just start learning instead of, oh, I know that because I heard it from the council, or you know what I mean? And we've got such a huge website now and there's so much on it, but I don't know how many people visit our website on a day, on a weekly event for them to go to the website and look. I doubt that there's a ton of them, but there's so much going on that just coming to a meeting and even engaging with us and talking to us is great.
Yeah.
And restaurants, we brought it up last night. Terry Rosema, our town manager, he sent out, I had asked him to give us an update last time we were on council. He sent out an email about update of the restaurants. Bottom line is, no, we don't have a new restaurant. And we've been trying to get one for I don't know how long. I mean the sit-down restaurants with the kid, with your family.
And you're talking about just an establishment period, whether it's a chain or, because here's what we've learned.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll let you know. In conversations we've had is there's not enough doors in the town yet to accommodate the economic.
Doors, okay, when you say doors, are you talking about rooftops?
Houses. Residential. Yeah, sorry.
Rooftops.
Yeah.
Rooftops.
Yeah, rooftops. Is that okay?
Doors.
Okay.
We're your media. See, it's rooftops.
Rooftops. Okay.
That's why I was thinking doors.
Sorry.
No, David.
That's what you get when you ask an investor. They say doors.
Oh, do they say doors? Did not know that. Okay.
But the conversation was that there's not enough rooftops yet to accommodate the economic sustainability of local establishments to succeed.
And you're talking restaurants.
Yes. Because that's actually one of the hardest businesses to get in with, and it has one of the lowest profit margins. I mean, you're running probably, most of them are in the single digit percentage on their profit margins.
I agree. I mean, I agree that a lot of them, that's a huge...
It's a hard thing to tackle. I mean, I think from everybody.
It is a hard thing to tackle.
Yeah.
The rooftops, though, I mean... You got to be kidding.
It's weird to me too, but but in the scope of things, you think about it like.
Well, when I moved into Continental Ranch, and I look back then, we had nothing.
Yeah.
So when I went to Coral Valley to work, I'd stop at Fry's there in Thornydale and get stuff. I'd stop wherever I needed that area. Well, near here, where we're at now, up the street, I guess. That's where I got all my stuff. Because you get, once you got out to Continental Ranch, unless you're going to Little Abner's or McDonald's,
right,
you're not doing anything out there. And so it took forever, it seemed like, to get a bank, to get the Fry's, to get anything to come out there. And you're absolutely right. It was rooftops. And thank goodness in 1992, I think I moved in 89, 90, maybe 91 is when things really took off. But even after that, we had to have at least 1,000 plus rooftops until we saw anybody wanting to come to Marana. And then half the people go, where's Marana? But I don't know. When I look up at North Marana now, oh my heavens. I mean, there's 8,000, and Dove Mountain, I mean, there's 8,000 homes up there right now. There's San Lucas, there's Gladden Farms is just kicking, I can't say that word, kicking butt out there,
Yeah.
I struggle just a little bit. And then, of course, we've got all the new development coming in, the businesses, people going to work there. They need a place to eat.
Right.
And, of course, Continental Ranch and Continental Reserve, Sunflower. I have a hard time thinking it's the rooftops.
Yeah. Well, I've heard something else, too. It's the so for, let's say, a local mom and pop decides that they want to put something up in let's say, Gladden Farms, for instance.
Yeah.
But they'd have to build that building and or lease it from one of these new developments. And they'd probably have to install the kitchen and all kinds of other things that are not accounted for in that, right? So what I've heard is, people that are part of like the local Marana thing and stuff is they'll say, well, we want to, but the expense to get there is significant, as opposed to if something else goes there first and moves out and leaves that stuff behind, then we can move into it a lot easier.
Yes.
Because it's already there. We don't have to spend as much money to get open. Like, they're talking to millions of dollars just to even get open.
No, David, you're absolutely right. That I would agree with is the mom and pops, which a lot of those, I see them coming into Tucson, but there's already a place there for them.
Right. Yeah.
And the small business, there's a place there. Yes, we have right now, okay, I think Boston's, of course, this building is gone, or not gone, I'm sorry. Boston's has moved out. There's a restaurant, so there's a kitchen. So hopefully we can get some new restaurant in there. But you're right, is the chains can afford that. Oregano's, Olive Garden, they can afford that. But the smaller mom and pop where you get a lot of good food, I agree. They cannot come up and start doing a brick and mortar building.
Yeah.
We're hoping, and you know what? Before I forget, I think I'll put it on my website. Terry did send out. Terry Rosemar did send out a very. It's kind of a long article, but it explains a lot of stuff that they're working on and how it's been a challenge.
Yeah.
To get something into Marana. Maybe I'll put it on my website, and people should read that so you can see people are working. The restaurant recruitment team, they are out there working and pushing and taking part in meetings. And so we are, the town, along with the chamber and gentleman who, for the Simon Properties, the mall, he's on that team too. So they are really trying. But I'm just so frustrated. And I know a lot of other people, when I've been out canvassing and stuff, and going, talking to people, restaurant, where, so.
Where's it at?
But you're right. Yeah. I mean, the other thing is too, a lot of people say, if we put a restaurant up there, we have one down here, but our folks don't have transportation up to Marana because they don't have a car. They'd have to take a bus. Well, of course, we don't have a complete bus line to Marana. But it has been a challenge. I would encourage people to if I put on my website, to read that and see all the touch points that you have, that they've gone through.
Okay.
But yeah, it's, I feel really, and one other thing is, if you are out there and you do have some money burn in your pocket, I would burning in your pocket. If you go by Cracker Barrel or Roadhouse, Chili's, oh my heavens, every day of the week, those people are packed.
You're right.
So I just think about, man, if you put a restaurant over by the mall, or or build one, you would be banking some money, because people would be so and reasonable prices, great food. People would be coming to that restaurant in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just a couple more questions and then we'll get going. But piggybacking off of that, just something that I was thinking about, and again, educate me please if I'm wrong, but an idea is, so I spend a good amount of time up in Queen Creek and Gilbert because of family, and they have local establishments embedded, but I can't confirm if they're new. They were part of building those things and getting in there. I don't know about that, but they're embedded and they're doing it. But then I go back to the rooftop thing. There is a lot more people out there, but it's something I've been trying to figure it out. I've been trying to poke around up there, like, hey, how are you guys doing this? Or what does it cost? Just like pretending that I'm gonna open a restaurant or something. But here, like, what if there was, and this is a what if. People hate what, I don't even like what ifs, but I'm just thinking here. Like a food truck area that was like a committed spot that was available for food trucks to be at on a consistent basis. Because I know they do like the roundups every now and then, like Gladden Farms. I'll see like, hey, we're doing our food truck roundup here, and I'll see mainly Gladden Farms, and sometimes a school will do it, right? Like, hey, you can have it. Like, what if there was like a spot that was like a dedicated area for like these local, because a lot of the local places now I'm noticing are adding on a food truck to their brick and mortar so they can go out to spots.
So that would be nice to either come here or there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the food trucks.
I know there's a lot of health stuff to deal with that, but.
It is. And even in Continental Ranch, we did a food truck roundup, I think it was called. I don't know why it just wasn't that successful. There wasn't, And
okay.
now I'm just talking about the one in Continental Ranch. It just seems like we tried it a couple of times.
Right.
People came, but I don't think enough to sustain, the 4, 5, 6 trucks that were out there.
Okay.
It was near the park. I thought it was a great venue to come and kids can play in the park. But I don't know why that didn't work. We've tried it twice down there.
Yeah.
Now, up in the town of Marana, they're always pushing the food trucks, which I love it. There's a lot of people getting into that business. As for, we have them all the time. Sometimes we have them come for our employees for Employee Appreciation Day. And they have other times they said, hey, the food trucks are coming. Let's, participate with them and support them.
Which is cool, because you don't have to do that.
No, we do that for our employees or anybody who wants to come in. And I do see Gladden Farm has them come in at certain times, but it's not the answer to, and I like, there's some really good food on those food trucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, it's not the answer to just a sit-down restaurant to take your family, friends to.
Right.
And I support the food trucks 100%. They're do our 4th of July. But, and as you say, when you say to find a spot for them.
I know there's not a lot of room left.
I was thinking about, I hope the vice mayor's listening. Maybe he can put some in the pumpkin patch some days and say, come out to the pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
You know how that area is.
Yeah, I know they do on certain events for sure.
They do.
I've seen, because I've bought some good food out there.
Yes, they do pull them in when he has events. But I'm thinking just for like you said, a place to go. Maybe every Wednesday or something.
Here's an idea.
Yeah, go to the pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
And, he's going to have, 5, 10 trucks out there.
Yeah.
I just trying to think of a big area. But they certainly have helped, and they're good for our town. And we usually have them, Christmas, always having the food trucks up there.
I'm just sprinkling ideas.
I hear you. That's the thing. Keep telling us. Most of the ideas that we get, good ideas, are from residents.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people. There's only 7 of us up there, but we have a fantastic staff now. I just can't say enough about our department heads, our town manager, just a great professional group of people.
Right.
And they have some really good ideas. But the residents call in or write in and say, what about this? And there's some really good ideas there too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Restaurants. I never thought that would be our Achilles heel,
Yeah, would you say that that's like the most important issue right now?
I think really the most important issue, and I was looking, is really transportation.
Okay.
Again, the growth. The growth came so fast in these last several years. And, you look at Cortero, poor Cortero.
And Tangerine, too.
And Tangerine now, and oh my gosh, Marana exit.
There's plans in the works though to fix those?
Yes,
if I understand right.
Yes, thank you.
They take time. You can't just go and start chopping up ground. And
we just had a retreat in March, February. Gosh, when was it, guys? February, March. The whole thing was about transportation, and we went over old stuff. We went over new stuff. But the growth has come so fast. When I go, I try not to get on Cartero, at morning or evening. But it's people just can't get places without running into traffic. Of course, evening and morning and evening is rush hour. But even during the day, it's just crazy how much traffic there is because there's such growth now. Mm-hmm. So, yes, the good thing is we have looked at this many, many times on what we're going to do. There are plans in place to help the people coming off of Marana. I mean, you remember that song, 50 Ways to Lose Your Lover or something? It's like at the Marana exit, 7 ways you could get killed up there. I shouldn't say that, but I'm going to. There's just 7 or 8, I sat there and counted them one day, of all the different rights, lefts, going straights, getting down the frontage road.
It's definitely an uncomfortable area for sure.
It's a very uncomfortable
area. And back in the
fall.
day, it wasn't that big of an issue because there wasn't much traffic. But now that you have all these houses and
yes, now we have all the houses. Businesses. And then, we've got San Lucas. San Lucas over here and their friends in Adonis. And those folks were one thing. But then when the other growth came, it's just crazy up there. So we do have plans to. It's not going to be a Tangerine. Like a Ina or a Twin Peaks interchange. Mm-hmm. But we are going to get some lanes. More. It's. I'm not going to say temporary, but we have to do something to help these folks, and we are going to put some more lanes coming off the freeway at the Marana exit. Also at Tangerine, people are, like last night I went to a council meeting. Oh my heavens. You're out on the right lane at rush hour, and that's very dangerous. So we're going to put some extra lanes in there to bring those people off, like we did at Cotero. Right now, and at the retreat, it was just overwhelming almost how much money is required for these things.
Well, you have to coordinate with ADOT and the railroad, right, to make this kind of stuff happen. Like it's not like you guys can just go and walk in there and.
No, ADOT. The good thing is we are number 1 on their list for Cortero.
Well, that's great. Yeah.
For Cortero, and to me, the problem with that though, and I just can't get into it, but that's a $200 million. $200 million? Yeah. Price tag. That's almost, I had to think about it. Is that right? I mean, that's the price tag, and we have
Price tag for what? What are we
to build it? To
are
build
we
it
doing? Is that like another INA kind of build?
Yes,
or, okay.
yes. It would look just mostly like INA, over the tracks, and that's an incredible amount of money. Now we have different funding ideas, which are credible, but the one that we haven't. And that's the one that's going to give us a lot of I don't know how much of the money, but a lot, is the RTA, the Regional Transportation Authority. And if you've seen on the news and everything, it's the RTA. It's called RTA Next. It starts in 2026. We need to get the RTA to continue. It's been going for almost 20 years, and it's now time to re-up the RTA to continue to fund that. I think it's a half-cent tax from the municipalities goes into a fund, and then we as municipalities start putting our wish list on. We'd like to have that money used in conjunction with others that we find at Cretero or here. We have a priority list we give them.
Right.
So. But if the RTA does not get funded again, and right now they're going at it down there, it's the municipalities and the city of Tucson on are we going to extend it another 20 years? And that's vote is coming up very soon.
How soon?
In fact, it would be in the election, November.
Okay. So that's something that people need to be paying attention to.
Very much so, because if we don't get that renewed, then Marana, Sahuarita, Oro Valley, that money is for and dedicated to roads. And if we don't get that $200 million, we've got probably 3/4 of it identified. Or maybe half, but if we don't continue to do the RTA, we won't have it.
Wow.
We won't have it. So I'm going to say transportation.
Yeah.
I was really overwhelmed, and that's what stuck in my mind, we need to help. We need to somehow get these people where they're going to go safely.
Yeah.
And, transportation.
Thanks for sharing that. Okay, we're towards the end, so I got to ask this last question.
Yes.
Okay. Why re-elect Roxanne Ziegler?
I think. Look at my history. Look at my history. I've been passionate about Marana, starting in the early '90s. I've served the community, like I said, when Wheeler Taft Abbott pulled me off the yard and said, you need to help with the community and help drive it. So I've been involved for almost 18 years. I am experienced on this. The other two people running are not. New blood is fine. I'm all for that. But because when I joined, David, when you get elected to the council, I don't care what anybody says, for the first 4 years, all you're doing is learning how to make a motion, learn people's names, find the bathrooms, because you're so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So it takes a while to get to the point that I'd like to think I'm at, that I have stories to share and all this experience. I would like to carry that on for another 4 years. People, if you go to my website, I was very, very honored, so humbled to read some four people who wrote in endorsements.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I loved them because they all said the same thing. Every one of them said the same thing, that you've listened, you communicate, you help, you solve the problem. You don't leave us hanging. If you don't know it, you find somebody who knows it. I couldn't even say it as well as they do.
Yeah.
I mean, if people went to the website and looked at what those folks said. Yeah, they're friends of mine. I didn't write it. Some people, no. And I want to thank those 4 people who did, because that's what I want people to remember and know, that I'm still so passionate about this town and the experience I have. I think you'd want that. And looking around, like I said earlier, and I hope it didn't come off too crass about that, I helped build everything you see right now. I didn't build it, but as a council, we approved it. We looked at the plans. This is what we do. And it's nice to go and say, wow, that looks great. That looks great. Nice. Like you said, the rec center and the pool, I think for me is just going to be the premier thing. And the reason I say that was driven by the residents. On our general plan and strategic plans, when we'd have public input, residents over and over, a rec center. And when we got over 50,000 people, we started thinking about a rec center and starting to do some plans and rec center. So that was driven by the community. And we went up and looked at ideas up in Phoenix at a rec center. I think it was Goodyear. And we really liked theirs. And they gave us some, and theirs is pretty new, 2 years, I think. And they brought us in, we did a tour, and they said, just make it a little bigger, even though ours is bigger than theirs. They said, make it bigger. And it gets the kids out of the heat, the seniors out of the heat, people out of the heat. Those are the things that I can look around and say, I did that. I helped do that. Dove Mountain, I just wanted to say a few seconds from that. Dove Mountain in 1994-5, David Meal and his company, Cottonwood at the time, brought four of our council members, myself, her, Patty, and I think the mayor, in a Jeep up to the stone house that's still there.
Yeah.
And there was nothing but cactuses, saguaros, and not a building to be found. And David said something like, I have a dream. And he says, here's what I'd like to do. He had his plans, and we looked at that Dove Mountain and said, wow, this is going to be a premier place for people to come. And so that was how many years ago? Look at it now. And it's beautiful up there. And the Tortolito Preserve, I know people have thought that we were going to build on that. And I just want people to know we don't own it. We lease it. And the reason we lease it is to mitigate the pygmy owl, when the pygmy owl was stopping growth for almost 3 years. So we purchased that 2,400 acres. And as a town, we can't, it's not ours. It belongs to state land. So we are not going to, I'm just talking about the council you have now, we are not going to build on the preserve. It's a preserve. And I think some people in Dove Mountain had gotten that idea.
Yeah.
And no, it's beautiful. We've just finished doing some improvements up there. And I looked at Dove Mountain and the preserve, and, that was something that I have witnessed from standing by the stone house to now, and it's still beautiful. Even, with the development, the beautiful land, it was hard to say, wow, there go the cactuses. But you know what? The Cottonwood property did just a fantastic job. That was done by our council and continues to be one of our top priorities, like all our residents, all our neighborhoods are. So I think I have a pretty good background from when I started in the early 90s. I'm still pretty crusty, and I'm still pretty passionate, I'll say, about things and speak my mind. But it's always going to be straight talk from me. I don't sugarcoat anything. So I would be honored to have support in people's votes on July 30th to keep me in there and continue to, what I've done in the past, continue to talk to people, communicate with people, do what's best for the residents. And then again, while I do that, we'll continue to look for people for the town council. Some of us may be dropping off in a while, and so you even had mentioned earlier that everybody needs to look, and anybody that's interested, please come and talk to us.
Yeah, get involved for sure.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you and LTD.
Yeah.
Live the Dream. This is, thank you for everything you do for the town.
Yeah.
You guys are just fantastic.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
You're all over
Likewise.
Facebook.
Yeah, no. We want to keep things good and fun and give people more information. I know the town has a great podcast with Terry and everything, but we also want to, give a perspective from the citizens' end and stuff like that. So no, we appreciate that, Roxanne. And we appreciate you being here and taking time to do so. I think we went for over an hour, which is pretty awesome.
I hate to say that's not, people are going to go, she loves to talk. So,
these long form things are cool, right? Because you get to hear things that you normally wouldn't, right? Because everything else in life feels like this just soundbite piece, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to put some stuff out from our conversation in little pieces, but it's to drive them to the long.
I apologize for the long, it's just, again, why vote for me? I've got so much up here that I do talk too much. I'm sure people say that. But when it comes to the town of Marana, there's just a lot to say.
Yeah.
I've just seen it from 30,000 people. We're over 60,000 now and growing every day.
Buckle up. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to hit 100,000 pretty quick.
Yeah. So thank you so much for having me on for so long. And again, we appreciate every business in the town of Marana.
For sure.
And we appreciate the residents and their input.
Thank you so much. All right. That's going to be it for this one. Stay tuned for the next.